Achilles. You know him as the hero of the Trojan War, but I know him as a dude who was cross-dressing as a woman, and also Achilles was actually kind of zesty, and not just kind of, dude seriously loved to play hide the sausage, and he always found it too. You get me? Yeah, surprise. But hey, don't forget.
Man, everyone's gay once in a while.
But if you're one of the many that didn't know that, it serves to prove that there's a side to Achilles that you might not know. A backside, to be exact. You know what I mean?
You know I'm talking. You know what I'm saying. You know.
But this is not just the story of zesty Achilles. This is also the story of Odysseus, who, spoiler alert, Odysseus was a straight-up
Down!
It is the story of how the lives of Achilles, Odysseus, Paris and Helen are all connected and how all of them caused the Trojan War. Because while everybody knows them as the major players of the war, few remember how they are also responsible for it in the first place. And that's where I come in, to point fingers. And it all starts with a little love story that I like to call... And by sex I mean non-consensual, because that's what the disgusting two rape bros were all about. For them, it's no fun if she's in on the fun. The woman in question was Thetis, one of the many daughters of the former god of the sea, Nereus. But before Zeus and Poseidon went for a devil's threesome that ironically and literally was also a godly threesome, a prophecy pee-pee blocked the brothers hard. The prophecy told them that if either of them, or any god for that matter, gets Thetis pregnant, that child is gonna be stronger than Zeus and Poseidon. Immediately, King Sparkles and pervy Aquaman got serious Vietnam flashbacks because their grandfather once got the same prophecy, and he ended up getting his balls chopped off by his son Kronos, and before Kronos had Zeus and Poseidon, he got the same prophecy and ended up getting imprisoned for life by his children. So Zeus and Poseidon instead chose to assign somebody else to assault and impregnate Thetis, and Achilles' father was like,
I volunteer as tribute!
Of course, the assailant also had a name, Beowulf, and the irony is that he's supposed to be a hero, as he was one of the Argonauts, but with a mythology that has the rape bros in charge as the supreme gods, Beowulf as a hero falls right in line. In fact, Beowulf had long had his eye on Thetis, so being the romantic that he was, he once crept up on her while she was bathing in the river because he thought it was gonna end like Grey Worm and Missandei in Game of Thrones. But really, it ended with Thetis transforming into a dolphin to get the hell away from this creep. So now, for round 2, Beowulf had Zeus and Poseidon as trainers in his corner. And if they know anything, they know how to capture women against their will. Imagine them like the Pokemon trainers of sexual assault. Yeah, that was dark. That was a dark joke. But hey, if we cannot find comedy in the darkness, we only find more darkness, right?
That's deep.
So the supreme scumbag brothers coached Beowulf that speed and persistence is the way to win this fight, aka he just had to sneak up on Thetis faster, blitz her, and then grab her and never let her go. Beowulf was ready and he rushed Thetis in the river, grabbing her with all his strength, and even when the scared goddess transformed into a porcupine to escape his grip and transformed into fire and all types of other stuff that really hurts to hold on to, Beowulf did not let her go, and he held her for so long that at some point Thetis started to feel different about his strong grip and realized that these strong arms are also arms that might be able to protect her forever, or some other mental gymnastics crap that the writers of the time pulled off to somehow make this seem romantic. Fast forward, and Beowulf and Thetis were set to get married, and because their love story was as Greek mythology gets, all the Greek gods were invited to the wedding. Everybody, except for one goddess, Ares. And there's only one thing you need to know about Ares.
I want no one else to succeed. I hate most people.
I look at people and I see nothing worth liking.
Eris was literally the goddess of strife and conflict, so not on anybody's guest list ever. But Eris was like, you're inviting the rape bros and Miss I throw my baby down a cliff, Hera, and Ares? He's literally the god of war. I'm self-inviting. I don't care. I'm coming, man. You got a problem with that?
Look in my eyes. You guys want to do something? You guys... That's what I thought.
So Eris came to the wedding, and at the wedding, she literally immediately proved why she wasn't invited in the first place, because as a wedding gift, Eris brought a golden apple that was inscribed to be a present for the most beautiful goddess. And there were 3 particularly beautiful goddesses in attendance: Athena, Hera, and Aphrodite. And when they saw the apple and its inscription, all 3 of them were like, mine. And man, this turned into a real catfight with a quickness. And it got so bad that Zeus, of all people, Zeus, had to be the voice of reason, saying that this is no way to behave at a wedding. So King Sparkles told the god Hermes to take them away along with the damn apple, so that some random mortal can judge who is the most beautiful. And that's where I realized I forgot to do a first chapter transition. You could have reminded me. Literally sleeping. I mean, I'm just saying. You got one job. But that's too late now. So instead of introducing the first chapter or any chapters, I'm just gonna keep going and do another title card plagiarized from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. The king of Troy, Priamos, and his wife Hecate had a new son to add to their other 18 children, and that son was Alexandros. But when Hecate gave birth to Alexandros, instead of a boy, a torch covered in snakes came out of her vagina. Actually, it was a dream she had long before she gave birth to Alexander, and in that dream a torch came out of her thing. And then she really gave birth to the boy the next morning. But needless to say, dreaming of a torch covered in snakes coming out of your lady parts is not a good omen. But luckily, it was just a dream and not reality, so Hecate and her husband stayed mature about it and decided to abandon the baby Alexander in the forest to die. Alexandros, I got excited about that joke. I don't even know if you can hear me. I'll put subtitles. I want to leave this take. Only the baby did not die. Instead, Alexandros was found and nurtured by a female bear until he was taken in by a human shepherd that renamed the boy into Paris and raised him into an adult as his own son and to a beautiful man and a fellow shepherd. Then, one day, one of Shepherd Paris's little sheep got lost, and Paris chased it into a dark cave, because what could possibly go wrong when something cute gets chased into a dark cave? In that cave, Paris found the sheep, but he also found 3 beautiful goddesses: Hera, Athena, and Artemis, and Hermes too. So Paris was like, oh, whatever foursome y'all about to start, make it a 5-some. But Hermes was like, chill, bro, we lured you here because we need you to judge a beauty contest between these 3 goddesses in this cave so that one of them wins a golden apple. And Paris said, that's super random, but okay, sure. And Athena said, if you choose me, I will make you wise. And Hera said, if you choose me, I will make you powerful. And Aphrodite said, if you choose me, I will make the hottest woman in the world fall in love with you. And Paris said, so you got Instagram or pictures or something? Can I have a look? And so Paris picked Aphrodite to win the golden apple, and Aphrodite made the hottest mortal woman in the world fall in love with Paris. The only problem was that this woman was a lady called Helen, and this Helen was already set to be married to someone else. And this is where I completely give up on the chapter structure and keep ripping off the title cards from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Odysseus was born as the son of Laertes. Laertes was another of the heroes of the Argonauts, except his wife actually wanted to marry him.
Huh? Who would have thought? Not me.
That wife was Adiclea, and together they had Odysseus and his sister. And like all heroes, Odysseus showed signs of greatness from when he was a boy. He was super smart, super athletic, super everything, but especially super smooth. A silver-tongued devil, Odysseus was a straight-up
Dog.
He's a straight DAWG.
So Odysseus pretty much uneventfully grew up to be the perfect heir that inherited the throne from his father and became the king of Ithaca. And since every dog needs a bone, he felt like it was time to find himself a wife. And it just so happened that the king of Sparta, Tyndareus, was accepting suitors for his daughter Helen, who famously was known as the most beautiful woman in the world, and also was not really his daughter, but actually King Tyndareus' wife secretly was impregnated by Zeus in the form of a swan, and then laid an egg that cracked to reveal Helen, the daughter. Oh, just classic Greek mythology. Anyway, Tyndareus was the one who raised Helen because Zeus was a serious deadbeat dad, and Tyndareus gave her away to all these suitors, right? That's where we are. So Odysseus went there and figured while everybody is thirsting over Helen, he would shoot his shot at Helen's cousin Penelope, who was almost as beautiful, but no one was trying to get with her because everybody was so caught up in the Helen games. Telling you, man, Odysseus. Also, Odysseus knew that the king would be troubled with all this attention he invited on himself and his daughter, offering up the most beautiful woman in the world to all these famed warriors, kings, and princes. Pick the wrong one to marry Helen, and the others might be offended and start a war with Sparta over the world's most beautiful woman. So when Odysseus got there, he approached the king on the DL like, "Yo, I know you're worried about these thirsty dudes and what they're gonna do when they leave here with massive blue balls, so what if I told you that I have just the solution?" And you have to know, Odysseus' reputation preceded him. Some even said he was secretly the son of Sisyphus, the man who famously tricked the gods, cheated death. Everybody knew Odysseus was that dude. Everybody knew that Odysseus was a straight-up dog! So the king was all ears for his suggestion, and Odysseus told him that, first of all, he should make everybody swear that to be eligible as a suitor, they have to promise to protect Helen and her husband forever once the choice is made. Then he should let Helen pick her own match, because the young and vain woman would surely go for the mightiest of all the kings, King Agamemnon, the most powerful of all these dudes in attendance. And sure enough, Helen did pick the mighty Agamemnon, just as Odysseus predicted. But Odysseus also knew that Agamemnon was already married and that he was only there to represent his brother, single brother, Menelaus, who Agamemnon promised Helen was her equal in beauty. So Helen was like, so you got Instagram, like pictures or something? And it turned out that Menelaus was as hot as advertised, and so Helen chose him, and Odysseus knew no one would object since everyone feared the mighty Agamemnon. Odysseus' plan worked to perfection.
What's it say?
Well, it says, "I love it when a plan comes together."
And if you think about it, that whole process of a bunch of dudes trying to impress one hot woman, a woman who then gets to match the one she likes and whose father's name is Tyndareus, this really is the story of hell. Oh, and Odysseus asked the king to put in a good word with his brother, whose daughter was the aforementioned Penelope, and so Odysseus solved the drama of marriage of Helen and then left with a beautiful princess of his own.
Dog.
He's a straight DAWG.
It truly was a happy ending in the making, and it would have been if it wasn't for... Damn, I realized I still haven't mentioned Achilles yet. He was supposed to be the star of this video. Well, oh well. After Paris chose Aphrodite to win the contest, she kept her promise, and Helen would fall in love with him the moment she lays eyes on Paris. So driven by thirst, Paris went home to his parents, who left him in the forest to die as a baby. And he was like, "Hi Dad, hi Mom, no hard feelings about the forest thing. Hey, oh, you must be my brother. Hector, right? Hector, what up? Cool biceps, keep curling. Parents, no hard feelings, because I survived, surprise, and I'm back. Surprise number 2, because I'm the other prince now, and I just want to say that I want to join the next ship to Sparta. No specific reason, don't ask, I'm just, Helen lives there, right? So when the king of Troy went to Sparta on his next diplomatic mission, Paris accompanied him, and of course, Helen fell in love with Paris on the spot at first sight and ran away from her husband and their newborn baby to sneak on board the ship back to Troy with Paris.
She belongs to the streets.
No, she doesn't. Remember that her love, all of that, that's all Aphrodite's doing, not Helen's own will. Not her fault, not real thirst. Obviously, King Menelaus, was well pissed. He didn't sign up to be a single baby daddy, so he enforced the oath everybody had sworn to always protect Helen and her husband by telling everybody Helen was kidnapped and she needs to be saved. Now, like right now. And since all of Greece was mad thirsty for Helen back then, literally all the men were wannabe suitors and swore the vow, that meant that now all of Greece was at war against Troy to get Helen back, except Odysseus. Yes, the vow was his idea in the first place, but he never thought anybody would be dumb enough to mess with the brother of the mighty Agamemnon. Now Odysseus had a wife and a son. He wasn't about to go to no damn war over some girl who ran away with a pretty boy. So when Menelaus and Agamemnon sent a messenger to recruit him, Odysseus just pretended to be stupid. He literally pretended that he had lost his mind on some, simple jack thing.
I like when we touch hair.
But the messenger wasn't fooled. So like any level-headed person that wants to test someone's sanity, he put Odysseus' newborn baby in front of the plow while Odysseus was plowing the fields. Obviously, Odysseus was on his Mufasa thing with a quickness and saved his little boy, but with that slip-up, or rescue, he'd proven that he had not gone mad, and so Odysseus was now forced to keep his vow and to enlist in the war to retrieve Helen. And his first mission was to fulfill a prophecy. Before he left for did you hear that snore? Oh, serious. Man, during working hours too? A prophecy. Before he left for Troy, an oracle told King Agamemnon that he and the allied Greek forces will only win the war if the great warrior Achilles fights on their side. But the problem was, so after King Beowulf pulled a Zeus and Poseidon and hugged/assaulted Thetis until she agreed to be his wife and queen, he then also got her pregnant 6 times. Unfortunately, 5 of those children died, and the king could never figure out why. So after this 6th child was born, he was keeping a very close eye on his wife and the infant, a boy they named Achilles. Of course, stalking and creeping came easy to King Beowulf. You remember, that's how you so romantically found Thetis in the first place. So he hid in the bushes as he watched his wife hold the baby upside down and dip it into a river until only its foot was not emerged. The king was in shock and jumped out of the bush to stop his wife from drowning their child. Like, give me that, are you crazy? And she was like, bro, you just stopped the ritual. I was making him invincible by drowning him in a river. A river? You're the worst stalker ever. Do you not realize where we are? And the king looked around and realized this was no ordinary river. This was the river Styx, the river that leads to the underworld and holds the power of death. Thetis, who's still the daughter of a former sea god, explained to him that she can use the power of the river Styx to make baby Achilles invincible. And the king was shocked and moved. He wanted to make our son invincible because we lost our first 5 children. Damn. I never should have doubted you. I love you. You're a good mother. You're damn right I'm a good mother, man. I tried to make the first 5 babies invincible too, but I accidentally drowned 3 of them and burned the other 2. What? And so Beowulf and Thetis got divorced. And Achilles did end up invincible except for his heel, because Thetis never got to fully immerse him in the river before Peleus took Achilles from her. But whatever, that's just a little Achilles heel, no biggie. Achilles was still the man, and so he was given to the one dude that turns the man into the hero. Chiron, a centaur, and not just any centaur, the centaur that trained the famous Jason, leader of the Argonauts, former captain of Achilles and Odysseus' dads. Chiron was the master of everything, like literally everything.
Everything!
Archery, swordsmanship, music, academics, you name it, and you bet he taught it to Achilles. So Achilles grew up to be perfect, except for his Achilles heel, his heel, and during the training, two other heroes trained under Chiron at the same time, Patroclus and Ahas, or Ajax, the soon-to-be great. But Patroclus didn't just train under Chiron, he also trained under Achilles. You know?
Talking about, dog. You know what it is, right? You know what it is, right, boy?
They were lovers and fighters, and after they completed their hero training, they were also the centerpieces of a group of famous warriors led by Achilles, the Myrmidones, warriors whose skills were known throughout the land, so known that Achilles eventually became the topic of many prophecies. One of those prophecies reached Agamemnon, the leader of the Greek forces, who needed Achilles to win his war, and the other prophecy reached Achilles' mother Thetis, who shared it with her son. Son, listen, the Greeks will try to force you to join their great war, a war that will make you a real hero, one of the greatest heroes the world will ever know, a war that will make you immortal for all eternity, because that's what immortal means. But if you don't go to the war, you will live a boring, comfortable life and die of old age and end up forgotten. Crap, I forgot the part where you'll die in the war. You'll die in the war if you go. But it was too late. Achilles heard enough. He was excited now and ready to go. So his mom had to use the only tool at her disposal to force his hand. She grounded him. She literally grounded him on a faraway island where Achilles had to hide, dress up as a woman, and pretend to be one of the women in some king's court. You're never too old to be grounded by your mom and punished in random manners, no matter where you are or who you are. Man, this woman was just like, here's your dress, make sure you tuck your balls away, and off you go. And off to the island of Skyros, Achilles went, hiding in the court of King Lycomedes. Luckily, Achilles was so beautiful that it was easy for him to disguise himself as a woman. You know, think of him as having one of those Cillian Murphy type of faces that go both ways. Unfortunately though, Achilles had one of those Cillian Murphy type of faces that go both ways. So he was also very hot to the king's daughter, Didamia, and before long, Achilles frequently untucked his balls to hook up with Didamia in secret, and eventually they even had a son. Then, after Achilles had gotten well used to his new pronoun, a mysterious merchant appeared on the island to sell goods to the king, his daughters, and the entire court. The merchant offered dresses, jewels, and all kinds of pretty things for the women, as well as swords and shields for the men. And just as the sale was in full swing, a battle broke out outside the palace, a vicious battle, and there were screams and death was in the air. So the disguised Achilles immediately grabbed the sword and shield on instinct and rushed into the battle, dropping his dress and revealing his identity in the process, only to find out that the screams were fake. There was no battle. There wasn't even a real merchant in the first place. It was the disguised Odysseus and his men who had found out where Achilles was hiding and were there to recruit him for the war. And seeing Achilles' courage in action, the smooth-talking Odysseus didn't take long to call on Achilles' pride, get him to ignore his mother's orders, and convinced Achilles to face his destiny and use his invincibility to reach immortality, to fight in the Trojan War. And that war, and that's a story for another day. But now you know the story of Achilles, Odysseus, Helen, and Paris, the stories of the people that led up to arguably the most epic war in history, the Trojan War, next on